Welcome to Motivational Monday, introducing the Blind Titans.
What up, TikTok homies? This is Daniel, aka Rolling Blind.
Dom, aka Blind Justice.
Hey, what's good? My name is Dre, aka Dre Charles.
What's poppin' TikTok? It's your boy Chef Blinds, aka Blinds. You already know what it is.
Yo, it's Irv. Schedule be blind on TikTok.
Hey yo, it's your boy Hilarious D, the resident clown.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Blind Titans Live. For another Motivational Monday. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this started. So first and foremost, I want to go ahead and tell everybody Happy Labor Day. It's the unofficial end of summer, you guys. Those hot 100-degree days, and if you're in the South like me, those sweltering temperatures where it's almost like you felt like you was wearing the heat is about to be over. So I'm glad about that. So, what you say?
You say you're wearing the heat. Jesus. That's what it felt like too.
Right, exactly. It was almost like you couldn't even breathe. So, but for a lot of us, Labor Day typically is that weekend where you kind of just go out and be with your family and celebrate and cookouts and food and all of that. But for a lot of you guys, Labor Day, which a lot of us did not know, Labor Day is actually celebrating the contributions that people put into the workforce and really just giving them their respect and a well-deserved day off for the year. And so with that being said, I thought that it was a good topic that because we are all blind in here and also dealing with other disabilities, that we talked about the disabled community and the workforce as a whole. So let's first start off by this. I think it'll be important to go ahead and say, each of you guys, if you have a job or used to have a job, what your job was or is and what you currently do. So I'll go in reverse. You want to go ahead?
I currently do not have a job, but I was working at Walmart until January this year. I worked at Walmart for a total of 10 years. About half and half, 5 of them not being visually impaired and or blind, and 5 being visually impaired and or blind.
Okay. Chris?
I was going to say that I started out, I was in many different, I had many different positions at Walmart during my tenure. I started out as a remodel associate, got hired on as a permanent associate. Then I was a grocery associate. Then I was a supervisor. Then I moved to the meat department, and then I finished out working in the produce department.
You was all over the place.
He got the meat.
All right, Christian. So what about you?
Well, right now I'm not working right now. I was working at Amazon. My job description was just to pick up a package off one belt and put it on another belt. It was really easy. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. The only thing I had a problem with at the work when I first started, they gave me gloves, and I couldn't really feel the label through them gloves, but I took them clients off and I was on it. I was called one of the best workers of the Amazon.
You can unpuff your chest.
You said what?
You can unpuff your chest now.
You know what? That man standing tall.
And what else you want to know about?
No, that was it.
Got a lot. No, I got a lot to say about Amazon.
Right. Let's go ahead, Dre. What's your job or previous job?
I used to work in a machine factory, and I started off working at the shear. I cut the metal into whatever they want me to cut it into. I did that for like 6 years, And then I moved up to working on a computer. I did that for about 2 years. And then for the last year, I worked at a bean splitter where I just split beans all day. So, and currently I'm not working. So that's it.
Okay. And
Hey,
this
before you continue, Dan, Dom, Gia said, "Let him be great," and then also someone else said hello. Her name
Yeah.
is
SM
FM.
Garo.
Yeah, Garu one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But hello.
Okay. All right, Mr. Diaz, go ahead with the job.
With the job, of course, the only job I've had is, I guess, buying and selling cars. But what I do more is, I guess it's more like a salesman, I guess, right? Because, of course, because I'm not a citizen, so, I don't have, a social, so I can't really have a attempt to get a, normal job. But to be honest, I like what I'm doing, and yeah, I guess I'm more like a salesman, or what would you guys call it?
Yeah.
I would say a salesman.
Yeah, salesman.
So, for me, I've said it 100 times over. Y'all probably are sick and tired of me saying it, but I actually work for a nonprofit that helps provide resources and advocacy in my area for those who are in the community and are disabled. I will have worked at this particular job as a peer support liaison. So essentially, anybody who needs help or anything, you come in and we, help the best way that we can, or provide you that help the best way that we can. I've been at this particular location April, May, June, July, August, September, a year and 5 months. And so but before, and obviously this has been the first job I've had since I've been blind, but before I lost my sight, I actually worked in the prison system as a medical records clerk in a mental health prison. So, a big jump and a big, stark difference. But yeah, so anyways, let me ask you guys this. What do you feel like is the most difficult thing being blind or visually impaired and working in the workforce? Christian.
Well, the difficult thing for me that was working in the workforce was when it came to clocking in and clocking out. I couldn't really tell if I was clocking in, because when I first started working, I was doing it, but some people had to chase me down and was like, you ain't clocked in. And I thought I did once I put my my little card up to the machine, and when it beeped, but sometimes it'll beep and probably be like, try again. So I think that was the most difficult thing. I wish they could would have tried to made the machines talk back to me hey, clocked in. Another thing was trying to ask people to help me to clock in or clock out. They had the people that was like, you gonna get in trouble if I do it. We both gonna get fired. What? No. And then when it came to the break room, trying to use those microwaves for the vending machines was frustrating.
So a lot of it for you were accommodations for being blind, essentially, is what you're asking for. And the wild thing about that, though, is that I've always heard, and I don't know firsthand, but I've always been told that Amazon was one of the more accommodating companies, especially to the visually impaired and blind.
Well, let me say this though. When it comes to walking through the warehouse though, they have this bump tape on the ground where we swipe our canes across it to get us where we want our space at. It's when I walk in, once I pass the metal detectors and all, once I get past that, my cane is gonna hit the tape, and when it hit the tape, I have to turn left, and I just follow that tape until I make a note of right and go right, and I'm at my spot. So
okay.
I can say that tape did help to get me where I needed to be if I had to go to an area. That bump tape.
It's a lot of places that I know of that would really benefit if they had something like that. Yeah. So, Irv, especially with you working at Walmart and little side bit, I used to work back at Walmart back in the day when I was sighted, and I worked back in the layaway department. Worst time ever. But do you feel personally like Walmart, like a really big company like Walmart, kind of like Amazon, really tried to accommodate you when you started going through your vision loss?
No.
Oh.
No, not at all. And my biggest challenges were like when it was time to do the training on the computers and stuff like that. Luckily for me, produce in the nighttime or afternoon to night is pretty slow. Most of the produce is done in the morning time. So basically, because it's fresh and you can't keep produce in the back because it's gonna spoil. So most of the time the produce is already done. Most of it you're just upkeeping, making sure things are straight, or if something runs out then you go get it. So I had co-workers that knew that I was going, my vision was messed up. So when I needed to do those things, they would come and help me do the CBLs, or if I didn't have a schedule, my manager would tell me go ahead and override, and then that's a task in itself, because when you have to override under a manager's name, you have to swipe your card, look for the person's name, and looking for the person's name, they have it like A through C, and then you don't really know if their name is categorized for their first name or their last name, or you might not even know what their last name is. So that was a hard thing to do right there. But for the most part, other than the clocking in and the CBLs, I was doing it, man, because produce is like, we didn't really have to use the machine for much. So the limited stuff that I did need to use the machine for, using my handy dandy magnifying glass helped me out a lot. So it wasn't as bad because I had worked there for so long.
Right.
So adapting wasn't too bad. It's just the computer work and stuff like that.
Got you. So Daniel, and especially more, and I think your perspective would be kind of interesting, being that you kind of are working, I guess, on somewhat as an entrepreneur with your company that you handle as far as selling cars. Is there really any instances that you run into being blind where you kind of feel like things are not necessarily being done correctly, or could be a little bit more accessible?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it probably has to do more with not my blindness, but more that I'm on a wheelchair. You know what I mean? Because it's not a struggle, but it's more like I wish I could do more. Of course, whenever, let's just say we're gonna show a car or something, I wish I could go with my dad, because of course when there's people that speak English, he needs help. You know what I mean? So
Right.
of course we do it through the phone, but it looks less organized through the phone, because my dad's telling me through the phone say something, and then I'm telling the guy at the same time. Of course, when I was able to walk and I was already blind, it was easier to help, with the car stuff, because I was able to physically go there too. You know what I mean? Not through the phone. Or let's just say, not only my blindness, but me being in a wheelchair. Whenever somebody wants to see a car and I'm calling, hey, I want to call my dad or my brother to really go show the car, right?
Right.
I can't just go walk outside and look for them, because of course sometimes they're busy fixing a car or to make sure they're not here. I can't do none of that, because by driving over there, I'll crash into the walls or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Well,
Right.
maybe right now it'll be easier now that the walls are wider now that they're fixing the house around. Maybe it'll be easier, but still, I think that's the only struggle I have.
Okay. And Dre, so I know when you were talking about kind of having the warehouse job, you were sighted when you had that, correct?
Yes.
So looking back on some of the tasks that you had to do with some of those machines, do you feel like they would have kind of been a little bit difficult being visually impaired? Like, if you can think back to some of the tasks that you had to do, like, would you have been able to do them blind?
Probably not, because I had to go find material, and I drove the forklift, and I had to use a tape measure, and I had to push a pedal that brings down this big blade. So, it was. I'm not gonna say it's different, and I had to use decimals and fractions. So I ain't saying it's not impossible, but it'd probably be hard.
Because I was gonna ask you, what do you? I mean, and it may not be nothing big, but what ways could you have seen them possibly making that accessible for somebody who might have been visually impaired, if any? Because there may not be any.
Yeah, the things that they're doing, I really can't see them. Like, if you work over there in the office, that's about it.
Right. And it's funny that you actually say it like that, because, like I told you guys, where I work at, essentially, like I said, we're helping people who are disabled. So my job is pretty much an office job. And of course, naturally, because we are a company that helps the disabled, who is employed by disabled people, we essentially, whatever it is that we need to be able to accomplish our job, they furnish for us. So it's never an issue of kind of having to advocate. But I will say this, and I think this is kind of relevant to what we're talking about. I was today years old when I truly found out exactly what the ADA stood for and what they helped and provided and what rights they gave us. And I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of it, but the ADA does provide that on your job, that they do have to provide a reasonable accommodations for you to be able to get your job done. And unfortunately, I feel like, which is actually going to bring me into my next question. I can speak for myself when I say I think sometimes in being blind, we tend to feel like, well, shit, I got a job, I just need to be happy, ain't too many opportunities out there, so let me not rock the boat too much, and maybe not feel like, hey, well, these are things that I'm supposed to have, but because I'm fearful of losing my job, I'm just not going to say anything. So I definitely wanted to talk about the stigma of blind people in the workplace. So I think my first question, and I'm going to actually toss it to you first, Dre. What do you feel about how society views visually impaired and blind people, and kind of like this, we don't want you in the workplace, or we don't want to accommodate you in the workplace, but when you're not in the workplace, you're not a contributing member to society?
Honestly, it's like a lot of people don't want to give us a chance because they think we're liabilities. Like, we gonna hurt ourselves and sue them. So they don't even give us a chance to even show them that we can do something. Honestly, it's not fair though. It ain't. It's supposed to be equal opportunity everywhere.
Right.
But it ain't.
Yeah, it really kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, if you want us to participate and become contributing members of society, but you don't want to give us even the opportunity to show you that we can do it, then it's almost like we fighting a losing battle out the gate. How do we get that opportunity to really show you that we actually have something to bring to the table?
Yeah, it's kind of like them. Some of the people that I know, that they're visually impaired, but they can still have some, good vision, but they're already visually impaired, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't. Whenever they apply a job, they don't say nothing until they find out, because there is that fear that they won't, hire you because you're visually impaired.
Right.
I ain't gonna even hold you. When I started working at Amazon, I ain't gonna hold you. I thought they was gonna probably let me go like that first 2 weeks or so. But having like the managers and people coming in my station, you better than them sighted folks. Or we need more people like you. Like, oh, okay, so y'all see that blind people can still do what they do even without sight. So, yeah, I thought I was gonna be counted out fast when I was working at Amazon, but it seemed like I showed up and showed out.
But and you know the wild thing is, even if we take it out of like an industrial, like with Dre working in a warehouse, or like you at Amazon, or Irv at Walmart, even if you take it out of like that whole entire like industrial field, and even if you look at it from like an education standpoint, it seems to be a lot of individuals who can be like, who are visually impaired or blind, and who are college educated, have all the credentials, done all of that, but even with a diploma or certification underneath their belt, it really pales in comparison to the fact that you're blind.
Yeah.
So
I think that is just so weird, because they don't know that. I'm trying to not say this in a bad way, but they don't know that them relying solely on their sight for everything is actually not a good thing.
right.
Because after becoming blind, of course, I was sighted, so that was thing too. But a lot of the things I did at Walmart was from memory, like knowing stuff, like just that. And then a lot of things was from touch and feel too. The things I couldn't see, I could feel. Like it's so you got so many other senses for a reason. Smell, touch. I ain't about to taste the bag. I ain't about to taste the fruit now, but yeah. Like there's so many other things you can use other than your sight to make it happen. And because because they haven't experienced it, they don't know that. So that's why they automatically look at us, like Dre said, like a liability and stuff like that. Because like Chris said, that he was one of the better workers. Yes, I had a dude that worked with me that other people knew I had an amputated leg, knew I couldn't see that well. But when I tell you I had people coming to me and be like, "Oh, I knew you been here because I could have looked at the back room and tell." Because while I'm working, I'm cleaning as I go. Now, when he was working, oh my God, and it irritated me to my core that you got the back room looking like this, but you sitting down on the trash can. Like, clean up and then sit down. That way when management comes around, or if they do come around, which they never really did, but if they do come around, now you look like, oh, you got it all together. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I just could never understand it.
So do you think part of that is because, and maybe not necessarily in your situation, but do you think that part of that is solely because maybe in many ways, piggybacking off of what Dre said, we may feel like we have something to prove, and that's why we kind of take that extra step?
You might be on to something, Dom. Yeah, you might be on to something. But you can be on to something, but even before I lost my sight, I was that type of person that I want to be. Because of the Walmart that I started out at, they held you accountable. Like, if they saw you sitting around and be like, well, why you ain't doing nothing? So you always wanted to be on top of it, because there's that one instance where you're not doing nothing. You could be working all day, and that one little 5 minutes you choose to lean on the wall, management pop up.
And there you go.
So you always got to make sure everything's straight before you do that. And then when they come, they see the floor looks straight or whatever, and they just keep on walking, because clearly the person must be in the back doing something useful, because out here looks straight. They don't gotta they know they don't gotta worry, but when they see stuff looking bust up, then they come and look for who working.
Right. Daniel, I'm gonna come your way real quick, but I'm actually gonna set down the blindness argument, and I'm actually gonna ask you a question and kind of take it to a whole nother arena, if you will. Just like how we talk about blindness and kind of having that hurdle to have to jump over to prove ourselves with blindness. Has any other aspect other than your wheelchair? Because I know I heard you mention your wheelchair earlier.
But I did want to say, before Dom comes back, kind of like what Herb was saying about, you need to prove sometimes, that you could do stuff when other people don't really do their job. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this happened more when I was sighted. I worked with my cousin in a restaurant. Yes, it wasn't for long. It was what, 2 months. But he told me, you know how whenever you're working at a restaurant, somebody's walking you through, like through the job to learn what to do, right?
Right.
Uh, yeah, my cousin will be like, all right, whatever he's telling you to do it, but do it faster and better, because they're never gonna teach you the right way because they don't want you to be better than them. You know what I mean?
Ooh, got you.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe that because the guy, he did teach me, but that he will slack it a lot, and he will tell me, "Oh, it's okay if you don't, if you just chill back and kick it." But then my
Yeah.
cousin, he was a chef, from that restaurant, so he would tell me, "Don't listen to him." I'm like, "Don't ever be just sitting there. If you have nothing to do, go somewhere else and try and find something to do."
Yeah, that's what I used to do too, gang. I used
Man, I
to,
was trying to get you fired.
what I used to do, I used to not be doing much, but I would look like I'm doing something. Even if it's just running the broom across the floor to look like I'm sweeping, go through and touching, looking at the fruit and maybe like straighten them up a little bit. Like I'm not doing much, but I'm doing something though.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I got a phone call. I don't know if you guys were just talking about this, so if I did, just excuse me for bringing it back up. But my question to you, Daniel, was outside of your wheelchair and being blindness, was there anything that you felt like people kind of partially judged you on when it came to your job? And the first thing that came to my mind is you brought up the language barrier. So were there ever people that was kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to deal with this guy because his first language is Spanish or something like that? Have you ever had to deal with that?
Yes, sometimes more my dad than me because of course I'm at the house and I'm just translating to the phone, right? But of
Right.
course, when I'm speaking to them, I'm speaking to them, English, right? But whenever my dad shows up, sometimes they kind of their attitude changes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it sucks, but what can we do? Like, of course, my dad's still gonna be nice and show you the car, but you could tell their whole attitude changes and stuff. But we just go with the flow because it's our job and we're trying to make money.
Right.
But in the 12, 13 years that we've been doing this, nobody has ever been like disrespectful, but just with with a little bit of attitude, I guess.
Got you. So I'm more. Well, first off, are there any comments before I keep on going?
I don't know exactly what they were talking about, but Gia and Nikki were saying they think so, but I think they were commenting on what you said about it being like us having like a chip on our shoulder kind of thing, or trying to prove what it was. Y'all put it in the comment if that's what it was. But I think that's what it was.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to go ahead and bring this up too, and I've been seeing say it real quick. What you're saying?
They say yes. That's what it was about what you said about us proving ourselves.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I definitely felt like that might have, and like I said, maybe not necessarily for your situation, Herb, but I do feel like at many levels there are some people who feel like they have to take that extra step just to prove, their worth or what they are. So I did want to bring this up. I don't know if everybody has seen the video from a Mr. Farron Lewis. So shout out to Mr. Lewis, who actually asked about the blind community as a whole and how we interact with one another and the messiness and all of that type of stuff. So one of the things, I guess, to kind of piggyback off of the division sometimes in the blind community, I don't know about anybody else, but I do tend to feel like there are some people who tend to look at, well, if I'm employed, then that puts me at a better standing than maybe some other blind individuals. Or some people who may not necessarily agree with that sentiment. So I was wondering exactly how you guys necessarily feel about some of those notions, just simply because, again, it kind of plays off of the division, something that we on within our community.
I just want to say, I don't think. Well, this is how I think. If two blind people are like they blind or whatever, if one gets a job, I feel like they still the same. Like I don't like. It's like I'm gonna do this. I got a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Herb don't have a job. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna think I'm better than him. I'm gonna just still be the person I am. I wouldn't want him to think that I'm better than him, and I don't want me to think I'm better than him. I'm gonna still be like, hey, bro, we're equal. I just got a job. I'm not gonna judge him, I won't want him to judge me because who wants trouble? I want. I go to TV for trouble.
Right. Right.
So one thing, Chris, that
Mm.
that I think a lot of people who actually do feel like they better than somebody because they do have a job, they like the old people say, you better mind, because just because you feel like you on top now because you got that job can end tomorrow.
Right.
And in a lot of states, like South Carolina, they don't have to have a reason to fire you. They can just be like, oh, I don't like this shirt today, and I'm gonna fire you. You don't
Right.
have to have a reason to fire you.
Yeah, they can easily just state that it's compatibility issues. We don't get along, so yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that
It's some messy stuff out here. Messy, messy.
yeah, and to me, I think that again, I just look at it again, and not even just with just the blind community, with all different types of communities. I feel like when you already have enough people on the outside, you already have enough, battles that we already have to fight outside of the community. I just hate it when there's internal battles that take place. It's almost like, well, geez, come on, what we could get accomplished if we band together. And I think that's the biggest thing. Do I feel like a job makes somebody more relevant or makes them more of a contributing member to society? No. And I 100% agree with you, Irv, that a lot of times some of the very ones of us who, boast and brag, ooh, I got a job, typically do tend to be the ones that may not necessarily have one for long periods of time. I think that's one of the things that I love about where I'm employed at, is because essentially the whole reasoning behind our job, or the whole premise of what we do, is to make sure that we put other disabled people on, or and if we can't do it, to put them in contact with somebody else who can help them through that process. And I just really feel like it's stuff like that we really should be focused on, as opposed to telling the next man or the next woman or the next group of people that you're not as good as me because I have this and you don't, or that your opinions or what you believe or what you think doesn't matter, or your time or your effort or your opinion doesn't really play a bigger role because you don't have this.
Hmm.
That is true, and Dom, for the longest, I when I was back in high school, I was like, damn, hope, when I'm, an adult, all this drama is gone. But it's crazy that even at work, people can be messy as hell, and it's crazy how you never. It seems like you never grow up because people still keep being, rather bringing drama at work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki said, yeah, we need to focus on helping each other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. And Laymana loves. I don't know if you guys know Laymana Akahi. He's a blind creator here on TikTok as well. If you guys don't know him, go check him out. I think it's Mana with the aloha hands or something like that. But one of the sayings I used to always say to Laymana, and he kind of has adopted, is it's funny how some of the most hurtful, mean, and ugliest things that people can say to you can be people that's a part of your own community.
Yeah, I think I heard him say that before.
And like I said, and again, it just almost goes to the perspective of, those who are already fighting against us, or those who may be trying to stop our movement. Essentially, they don't have to do much, because if we have internal struggles, then essentially all they have to do is just sit back and go, well, I'm just going to watch them just self-destruct. I always said, I always look at, the the creativity and the ideas and the motivation that flows through so many people on Blind Talk. And what I would always say to myself is, could you imagine what we could all get accomplished, by
Yes,
just going
sir.
together? Yeah. I mean, to me, the possibilities would literally be endless, but sometimes we have to just learn how to get out of our own way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
To have Nikki J that do the little blind what? I'm gonna partner with her and be like, man, we finna turn up on Blind Talk and bring it out.
hmm yeah. And even although I know we probably straying far from the topic of work, so we gonna get back there. You all, we gonna get back. But but even to the point to where it's a lot of people who we will stifle creativity. I don't understand why such and such is making a video like that. It don't make sense. Or I don't like it when she danced like that. At the end of the day, look, is there stuff that I probably don't care for? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop nobody else's creativity. At the end of the day, I would hope that you shine and you shine bright, and that ultimately you bring awareness and bring back light and stuff like that to the community and what our purpose is for. So, but I'm gonna actually, this will be my official last question, unless you guys have something that you guys want to piggyback on. For those who are in the blind community and are wanting to be employed, are currently looking for a job right now, or maybe struggling at their place of employment right now, what advice would you guys give to them from a visually impaired or blind perspective?
Well, I'm gonna just say this. I didn't know nothing until I joined this group, and I'm gonna shout out you, Dumb, and Latanza, who put me on the map to get my first job. Look for your local, like, blind, how can I say it? What's the word?
I think it's like you talking about voc rehab.
Yeah, voc rehab, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for you or the times I wouldn't have my job, I'd probably still trying to get somewhere. But thanks to you or whatever, like for your local
vocational rehabilitation. We got you, brother. We got you.
Jeez. But yeah, Google will help you get that.
Right.
And also the Commission for the Blind, because they will also send you for training and all of that kind of stuff. So look for your local Commission for the Blind department, agency, whatever you want to call it.
and just for you guys who may not know exactly what the businesses that they're referring to, Voc Rehab and Commission for the Blind are going to be companies or agencies that will have access or have the inside, link to a lot of these companies who will hire you. But at the same token, these companies will also help provide any training or any technology or any type of connections that you may need, so that when you do start working, you'll have all the tools that you need to be able to stay there and be successful at it.
Yes.
Dan, do you got anything for the people?
Well, for me, I guess it's a little bit different. Like I said, because I can't get a regular job, but for those who can get a regular job, just don't give up. And if you think you can't do it, I'm pretty sure you can. Because look at Chris; he was one of the best workers, and Irv, and just don't give up.
Hey,
right.
Man, look, you vision impaired. Look, you should call yours. It's a job, but look. If you got a skill or something, that's a hustle.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, Christian? You actually took my last piece of motivating, or my last piece of advice. It's really just to say, look, at the end of the day, like how we talked about, with people and how they view jobs and the blind community and stuff like that. Look, don't ever let anybody tell you that what you do or how you make your money or how you make your living is not worth what you're doing. If you got to get out there and you make your living by making videos and spreading awareness, if you make your living by cooking and selling pastries pastries, if you make your living by g- clothes or writing emails for somebody, at the end of the day, whatever it is, don't let anybody diminish or make you feel small for what you've chosen to do to make sure that you keep food on the table or your lights on or a roof over your head. And again, like you guys said, don't let blindness make you feel like you gotta jump over hurdles to prove yourself, because we are enough. We are definitely enough. And so, yeah. As I step off my soapbox, does any of the review fellas got anything else you guys want to say?
Not really, Dom. Hey, I don't like talking after Dom.
Wait,
Hey.
I got a question for you guys.
Why you don't want to talk after me, Irv?
Cause, bro, you are articulate.
I don't know what that means, though. Come on,
Here we go.
Not a lie, Dom. I mean, my question is, have you guys ever gone to, like, an interview and you were able to tell they didn't want to hire you because of your visually impaired or blind? That's my
I ain't
question for
gonna
you guys.
say the company, but I'm gonna just say Q. I'm gonna just say a shoe. It's a shoe company.
Okay.
And they called me over. What's the thing instead of WhatsApp? What's the other one? Zoom.
Oh,
They
Zoom, like a
called me
Zoom
over
meeting?
there. Yeah, they called me. They did it over there. I'm talking, telling them, I'm business prayer, whatever. After they heard that, it was like, So they started just asking me questions that was dealing with something I ain't gonna be able to do. So I was like, I ain't gonna worry about it. Then the next day, oh well, we ain't gonna hire you. I hope you can find employment somewhere else. Like, I knew it was coming.
Right. You felt like they had already written you off.
They written me out. Like, what? Asking me questions that I know I ain't gonna be able to do. Come on, man.
To be honest with you, this has been where I work at now is the first job that I have since I, lost my sight. So, my last job was in 2012. So we talking 10 years ago. And the funny thing is that this job that I have now, I was actually recommended by the prior employer that had, or the employee that had this job, who said that they felt like I would have been good for the position. So it was kind of like an interview, but not quite an interview, if that makes sense. I know me personally, one of the things that I've always prided myself on is always, I feel where Christian's coming from, but in the past, I've always been like, if I can just get in for the interview, I know I got the job. I feel like I've always had great interview skills. It was just always that portion of saying, okay, let this company give me a chance. Are they going to be, okay, you know what, let's bring Dominic in for an interview. If I can get to that point, then I'm good. So I feel like I would probably have that same interaction, but maybe not necessarily during the interview process, literally just during the application process. So, but I can't necessarily comment on that because, like I said, I haven't had that, experience yet.
Right. But Dom, I just want to tell you one thing. Thank you, right? Because you just said that 2012 was 20 years ago.
20? I said 10. It was, Wait, what? Huh?
I could have sworn you said 2012 was 20 years ago.
Well, if I did, I meant to say 10.
I had to think. I'm like, hold up, boy, you been real old.
What you say? Say that.
Man.
Look, y'all, it's late. All right, I'm tired.
But look, Don. If we, is any more questions though? Because I want to get your reaction to this video.
Oh my God. Well, if we done, we done. I guess. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Nah.
Alright, so
you finna play it on here, or you want us to get offline first?
I want your reaction right here.
Oh my God.
So I just want to say shout out to everybody, everybody who do the videos. Shout out to Lil Irv. He helped me on a couple of my videos. Daniel did, Dre, Forget him, but I love him. Dre, you know I love you, cuz. But this video right here, y'all, I gotta give the big ups to my boy Dom. He is one of the dude that did the cover up for my Downey Boys videos, and this is the video right here. I think I did good.
This is Dominic from the Blind Title. You guys might know me as the information guy, or the stank brother that's always ruining all of his brother's fun. But besides that, if you guys are like me, you've seen this trio all over TikTok singing some of your favorite R&B hits. But have you ever wondered why there's no compilation of them? Well, wonder no longer. Introducing the Downey Boys' greatest hits. Volume 1. I'm Downey for you. For the first time ever, a collection of the Downey Boys' #1 hit songs, all together on a 2-disc set, to include such hits as Sexy while we're sexing, that's why I wanna girl, I wanna take all of your body, baby.
I'm ready for it to get to the end, Dom. You gonna
Oh my god. Myself.
Now you can own this collection, but hurry up, because supplies are limited and it will only be available for a short amount of time. You can call 1-888-222-2222 or pay the smart price of $19.99. Where's my money? I don't get a cut. See, this is the right I'm talking about.
His boy.
Oh man. Oh man. I said that's gonna be perfect right there.
Oh god.
That's gonna be perfect. Blind times out.
All right, 5 times out.
Thanks for watching.
Blind times out. Or whatever.